Welcome, people, to another episode of the Sunday Podcast. I am your host, Lone Soul. I just learned to introduce myself. um, I got some guests here today, some new ones. I got here Captain Smiley, the Siren of Boston. I know her because she kind of field tested my studio out for her YouTube channel. Uh, And I got another guest here, returning guest, Mr. Joshua. Dímelo, Joshua.
Hola, ¿cómo estamos, mi gente? What's going on, Captain Smiley? Good to meet you.
Yes, well, I know you actually, but hi.
Am I? Oh my God, I am bad. Who are you?
No, that's okay. I'm in disguise all the time. Jobs of justice. I did the wax.
Oh my God, yes. Yo, what's going on, homie?
Hi.
That's great. That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Yes.
So this episode would be the last one that's centered around my EP or the upcoming EP. This one's about the last song in the whole project. Uh, so the it's kind of tied in with the song before it called "The Truth." This one's the last song is called "Reconciliation." Uh, it's more so just how more so what the outcome of it when people exchange their truth or their points of reality and stuff like that, and what they feel. And then this one, reconciliation means merging one belief with another to find the middle. That's kind of tied in with how you speak out truths, but this one more so, like I said, the outcome of it, what the result of it would be, which is one to be on one accord. I think Joshua lagged out, but I'm gonna play the trailer real quick. It might ask you it might ask you to put the audio on. I'm not sure where though, but when I click it, just be aware of it. So, 3, 2, 1.
I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive. To be a pessimist means that you have agreed that human life is an academic matter. So I'm forced to be an optimist. I'm forced to believe that we can survive and we must survive.
Yeah, it's kind of a little teaser of it, but more or less is what that whole quote is about. Uh, that's James Baldwin. He's like a author back in the '60s, I think. Uh, yeah, so he writes more so the individual perspective of racism or classism, or just the overall division between people that stems from like individual like structures and stuff like that. But uh, what would you think that's kind of possible to have reconciliation, I guess, with between people? That's one of the main things I was worried about with this song, because that's something that's never really been successful. Everything else, there's a clear definition on it, but this is reconciliation is not really hard. It's not really easy to see an actual evidence of it working. I'm not sure, but this one's more so about reconciliation within oneself. That you have to reconcile with the hope that something can be fixed rather than just seeing the things that are destroyed, I guess. So, what do you think, Jade?
I think in the clip we didn't see it, but James Baldwin mentioned something about like you're saying reconciliation, but
Mm-hmm.
between a group that is I forgot the word he used because I had to look it up, but it was like that was disagreeing with one group and
Uh-huh.
making fun of that group the whole time, and now it's like to be with that group. I don't know. I feel like I don't want to sound like cheesy, but with love and education, understanding, it's possible. Like it's possible.
So Joshua, in case you missed the trailer, I'm gonna put it on again for you for the fifth song. Let me put it on again right now.
I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive. To be a pessimist means that you have agreed that human life is an academic matter. So I'm forced to be an optimist. I'm forced to believe we can survive whatever we must survive.
Yeah. Okay, dímelo.
Dímelo. So just to catch you up, well, I made the song more so to not give into a certain mentality, I guess, in which there's no hope for things to be repaired, because then at that point you're I don't know, assisting or adding to it, I guess, adding to the misery or the dysfunction that's in our lives, I guess.
Mm.
But that's something that could be geared towards either a large scale, as in the government trust, or trust in the government could still be had, or just in between, a trust within people, like just from anyone. Let's say people have wronged you. If you stick to the pain of the wrongdoing, then you are adding to the misery that will continue to persist. I'm not sure. It's more or less what I'm trying to gear the whole song for, and that's what I got from James Baldwin's speech.
Mm.
But do you think that's something that's uh plausible, I guess is the word? I'm not sure. Reconciliation is a hard term to like attach to anything in life, because there really isn't a clear definition of it. Everything else, like truth, there's a clear definition of that of the concept, that there's a truth, and then there's like different sides of it that we see. But with reconciliation, there's not really one thing, because it's combining both those truths together to come to a certain outcome.
Mm. What were you saying, Captain?
Um, before you like just came in, he was
Mm-hmm.
saying I was saying, not to sound cheesy, but with love and education, understanding, anything's possible. And speaking of education, the denotation of the word reconciliation, which is the dictionary definition, is the
Mm-hmm.
restoration of friendly relations, or the action of making one
Believe.
view or belief, the action of making one view or belief compatible with another. Like I think you said that. So it's like, yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
just coming together. That's what all the songs are about. I think it's possible.
Mm. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like, yeah, like reconciliation, it's dependent on the parties, right? Like it dependent on who's been impacted.
Oh,
And
we got Darren. Oh shit! All right.
what
Let me get one more person in here.
mm. But yeah, no, I think it's about like the parties that are involved, and like seeing what the most aggrieved people, the marginalized people, the people that have been impacted by like segregation and apartheid, right? To see like what do they want? What do we want? to be made whole, to repair the relationship, and like centering those voices, right? Versus, oh, like the white people of this country have been hurt too. It's like, sure, but me and people darker and poorer than me are fucking dying more
Yeah.
because of white folk shit and classism and all that stuff, like, and racism. So it's just like, yeah, I'm just like going on a little tangent here, but like, it's just like we have a lot of that conversation, like in our community, where we're talking about like, oh, I've been oppressed too. It's just like, yeah, like, and this is one of the things that I'm like figuring out too. Like, how do we develop
common ground?
How do we rediscover a class-based analysis and lexicon while like and recognizing that poor white people, like we have more in common with poor white people than rich white people, than rich white men. You know what I mean? Like we're all on the same side in terms of class, but then within our class divisions, you know, white people have more access and all this stuff than we do in a lot of senses because obviously they're privileged, right? But making sure that we look at that and center the right voices.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is that if there's commonality between both social groups, wouldn't that be part of the reconciliation that should happen, merging both the issues that they have with the issues that we have, make the connection, and therefore there's no division in the first place, or to lean on, because what I've seen is there's a common nature in leaning towards our pain as part of our identity, which therefore keeps us away from relating to any other person. So that's the reconciliation part that I'm thinking, because that's the exchanging of truths would be, I'm hurting too. The reconciliation part would be, okay, we're both in the same boat here. Now we could have something to work with in terms of, you know, organizing or just understanding each other. Bars. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, it feels like it sounds too much to me like being colorblind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there's this whole thing, like if people don't know, like being colorblind is a stupid thing. People are different colors and we have different identities. What up, Darren?
Got my friend Darren here. So a good audio engineer / soundscape designer, other things.
Nice.
What's up, Oreo? What's up, everyone?
Good to meet you.
Darren, did you see the trailer thing I put for the fifth song, the reconciliation? I don't know if I showed you that one.
I don't know. You were showing me stuff last week, but I don't.
Let me put it again real quick.
I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive. To be a pessimist means that you have agreed that human life is an academic matter. So I'm forced to be an optimist. I'm forced to believe that we can survive and we must survive.
Yeah, that's good.
I think that was the one you told me that the voice thing didn't come out that well.
You brought it up more. It sounds really good now because you can really discern what he's saying. Towards the end, it's still kind of hard to hear.
Yeah, that part is part of the crescendo, I guess. So it gets kind of muddied. Like I've tried it. I tried like
it up, at that point, it doesn't really matter. Like at this point, it's discernible though. Like you want it to like you want to be able to hear it, but I don't know. There's nothing else you can do.
Yeah, just how the song is set up.
I'm trying to think of something you could do. I don't think you could do anything. Just compress the shit out of it. No, it sounds good though.
So the message for the song was the truth would be exchanging both experiences. Reconciliation is the merging of it's finding the commonalities between those two truths and coming to one understanding, I guess, of it.
Did you end up finding an image for that? A non-religious image?
Nah, there's no non-religious image of it. I was trying to find some kind of visual art, I guess, for it, but there's always something with a cross in it, because I don't know, there's always something Christian that's like just focused or something. I don't know.
A picture of Halo.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we were talking about is just how reconciliation might seem as disregarding certain aspects, I guess, of one's experience, which I don't think it is, but as it might come out that way. I'm not sure.
I mean, I kind of thought of it as just like, two sides coming together and agreeing on something, but maybe I don't know.
But I think because of the human aspect of it is like we all have like feelings, like
right.
So when we associate our lives with a certain hindrance, I guess I think attribute, like, take that as part of our identity. So then it's kind of hard to say that, not that we're wrong about it, but like, I don't know. I don't want to say that it makes people feel a certain, like, feel special in a certain, like, way. I'm not sure. It's just a weird thing that humans, like any person, just like has that. It might be just because that's how we identify with ourselves in the position of society or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they're. Yeah, it's like the pain. It's like that thing of like. It's not what is it like? There are facts.
And then
there are like opinions or like different truths, but like the
connection between those aren't. I don't know, I feel like those never are stable enough for people to like connect each other.
Yeah, I think where the problem is that we don't know how to communicate. And we're keep on people moving the goalposts, people talking about like logical like people like arguing illogical things that have to be broken down. There's a lot of like trauma and like conditioning and miseducation that happens that like has to be kind of just like fucked with, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so like when we're talking about like something like truth and reconciliation, I liken it to this. Right. Well, that was the wrong phrase. I will liken it to this right now. In Lawrence, we had Black Lives Matter protests last year. There was a huge uproar in sense of the police and city government and our mayor and business owners being like, oh, we're gonna burn the city down, we're crazy, and these radical, I don't know what else they were saying, but like the young people in our city are gonna burn down our own businesses, and it's just like, okay, like let's have that conversation. And then so like after all that stuff happened, they're just like, oh, like the churches and the police and the mayor and like other people trying to make a name for themselves, the so-called organizers, that have never really been organizers before, that have no social justice kind of background or education, and they never read a fucking book on any of this stuff, you know what I mean? They never looked at civil rights, they never looked at labor, they never looked at like public education movement, nothing. We're just like, oh, well, why don't you just like talk to the police? Why don't you just like come together and like the police want to talk with us now? And the whole conversation was like, yeah, cool, like, but like we ain't equal. We are not equal. If we're gonna go into the conversation with the police want to talk, awesome, good for fucking them. We need to make sure that we're good first, that we know what we're gonna do and what we want. And have solidarity between us if it's, for example, before we go talk to the police, we have to make sure that we're all on the same page with what we're demanding and how we're going to approach and do it. Like, we got to organize. That's what organizing is. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, oh, well, it doesn't seem like if you act like that, then you're missing out on an opportunity. The police chief says he wants to talk to us. Like, he seems like a good guy. I'm like, but bro, check this out. We're talking about an institutional system that's funded with the power to arrest, like detain and murder people that they have. They put away a million, like hundreds of thousands of people in our community every year. What? Not hundreds of thousands every year. You know what I mean? Like throughout the generations or whatever, right? Mass incarceration, and they have legal assistance. They have historical, historical experience of how to divide and conquer us amongst one another, so that they could get their way, and then their power becomes more validated, and their power becomes more extended. And so when people went to go have a conversation with the police, like these young priest dudes that were trying to make a name for themselves, they made the people, the actual organizers and abolitionists that want to see more public health services, more social services, more jobs, the things that actually deter crime, right? That resolve crime. And because they were having the conversation, the mayor went and took a picture with them, and they were in the news. Oh, the mayor and the police are having a conversation with these community activists and church people to talk about how to better community police. And there was fucking rainbows and butterflies, and there was a fucking orgy, and everybody had a great time. And policing is somehow magically fixed in the city because they had a conversation. And now there's like $1 million more coming to the police department. And now that much more people are going to get in jail because nothing actually fucking changed, because poverty still exists and people will still do crime, and they're just going to bury it all because people didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. And now we look like assholes because we're just like, you can't fucking talk to the police, bro, until we all get on the same page with knowing what we're going to actually do and ask for. And that's a whole nother conversation, but it feels like recognizing the power dynamics is where a lot of like organizing fails, because it's just like, well, if I was molested as a kid and somebody was just like, if my dad or somebody molested me as a kid, just talk to him. He's your dad. He loves you. He wants to see you. He wants to like be made fucking whole with you. I want to have a relationship with him. Just go talk to him. But like, no, like what you do to the victim is you support the victim, you build the victim up, you give them the resources that they need to be made whole mentally, whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Get that therapy, that deal with that trauma, acknowledge the harm that has been done. And then maybe you could even dare to ask if I want to meet with my father ever again. I don't fucking need to, you know what I mean? But if I wanted to, cool, and I want to have that relationship, cool. But the focus should not be on bringing us together. The focus should be on helping me, not pretending that we're equal because, he's a nice guy now. It's like, fuck that. He has the power. He's the adult. He has the experience and the conniving. I'm ranting, but like, I don't know if any of that makes sense, but like, I think power dynamics if I can really lose out.
You kind of opened something for me there. So you're saying the so to reconcile in this situation would be not that it's a level playing field, it's to make the playing field level for the other person that's been victimized
Right.
or has been at harm.
Right.
So in this sense, since let's see, we're talking about the connection between poor whites with a poor minority. Would you say the minority would be needing more assistance than the poor whites, or since the rich whites don't like not that they all have like don't care, but just a very small amount actually do steps to actually help out. But the connection between the poor whites and the poor minorities is that they're both poor. They both suffer from the same issues, but the poor minorities are at a lower, I guess, advantage point, or stepping off point, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to see if there's a way if reconciliation is applicable to the situation that people are in, because right now no one's at the same political whatever position. It's either Republican or Democrat. No one really thinks the same in terms of politics or in terms of just like overall livelihood within other people. If it doesn't apply to you at this point, it doesn't matter. That's the kind of mentality I'm thinking people in the majority are thinking. Not that you guys are, but just in a general sense, that's what I've been piecing together. But since certain things do apply to all, does one have to be serviced first, or something needs to be done with the thought of everyone in general?
The last question was in terms of reconciliation, you said?
Yeah, because to reconcile, uh, to merge both adversities and finding and joining both thoughts of thinking into one, and from there that would be the result. That would be what reconciliation is. That everyone's at a certain understanding of each other's lives. But I think we're stuck on the truth part and not the reconciliation part. That's why it's so hard for me to put the I made the song reconciliation, but it's just so hard that like even in the song it doesn't feel like it's is entirely gonna be like returning home, I guess how it would say. We're still en route.
The song might need to be an hour long to symbolize.
It's gonna have to play until the end of time because I don't really think
right. It's like an ongoing process, right? Like,
or you'll just loop it and it gets louder and louder and louder.
There's a constant fucking rise up.
It starts clipping and it's
just... so everyone's deaf and they're like, okay, that's where we are. We're all equal. We can't hear shit.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think a lot was mentioned.
I
said there was a lot mentioned. A lot. I'm trying to to comment.
You're a writer though. Like you think a lot before you go forward, and I've noticed that.
Yeah. I have to process it all, and then make sure that what I'm thinking is what I'm actually thinking, not just responding.
Yeah. I need to work on that.
So let's go on a tangent.
Yeah.
I just thought of it like the end goal would be the reconciliation, coming together, the everything. But the truth of the matter is something that's been happening since the end and the beginning of time. The tangent is the Avatar: The Last Airbender. I was just discussing this with my friends, and it's there after the Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's Korra, the Legend of Korra, and in the Legend of Korra, she meets the original Avatar, and it's like when the original Avatar is dying, he's like telling his inner spirit, "Sorry, I couldn't fix the world." Like he's like dying on the battlefield, so it's like, "Sorry, evil's still a thing," and it's like she's like, "It's okay, the dark can't exist without the light." So there's always going to be some issue, and though reconciliation is like I guess the end goal for one of the many problems in the world, you have to acknowledge that it's like there is the group of people who are hurt more. So it's like, even though we all have our issues and, we can all bond over that because we can all laugh at the trauma that we've experienced. Or it's like, we understand the dark humor, we understand the darkness, and now we're in a different space. So we can bond over the fact that we've made it to the light together. But in that whole thing with reconciliation, it's like, we might bond over the trouble and the fact that it's all messed up, the world, but then it's like, how do we, when Lonzo said, how do we deal with the group that was affected? Like, do they get, I guess, help first or something? It's like, I don't know, but as long as they're acknowledged and as long as they're helped, then they'll feel better and everyone can just feel better. I don't really know the solution. I'm just like, it just seems like an ongoing issue, and just I don't know. Just be nice to others. I don't know, and understand that others are going through things. I don't really know.
Hashtag just be nice.
Yeah, right. That's what I have to say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the easiest way we could say to people if there's a disagreement or not, to lean towards I don't know.
There's too much anger, man. It's just like it's so easy to be nice. It's so easy to be constructive, but people just decide not to because I don't know why.
Fuck that. Fuck that. Man.
Exactly.
Fuck that. You don't tell me to be nice. I could be nice. I'm a nice ass person.
Yeah, I feel like there's people like, yeah. I feel like there's like people that because we don't know how to communicate with one another, because we're not taught that, like in public education, right? There's this whole like moving the goalpost thing, or just like not knowing how to listen. Like what is this person saying? What are you actually saying?
I really think it's just like exchanging ideas sometimes feels like you're putting your position at risk, and I don't know why that is, but it just feels like what you think is part of your identity. And if someone points out a flaw, then that means the flaw is in terms of a reflection of who you are,
it's like a personal attack.
Not of what you think, but of who you are. That's a weird thing. Like I mean, everyone experiences that in a certain way.
And then there's like that element of like, because like there's like the super woke people, right? That just like kind of like what you guys were just saying, like, oh, just be nice. Well, fuck you, you're fucking telling me to be nice now, and now I'm oppressed, and the white guy's telling me what to do, and it's just like, yo, like, we don't like.
You just missed the point I just said.
Right, exactly. It's just like, why, like, you don't like, everything is a trigger now in a way, but at the same time, I don't want to use that like Republican talking point to be like, everything is a trigger, but like things are triggering and microaggressions exist and like harm is being done in our communities. And it's important that we're sensitive to those things. But it's just like, like that's like, then it becomes like incumbent upon us to really work hard to figure out how to communicate better so that we're causing less harm, speaking more in I statements, and talking about what happened, the way I saw it, what I felt, and here's what I need in order to feel safe. And then like I'm learning this like nonviolent communication thing, and it's really fascinating and really helpful, like in just all my relationships, especially like my intimate relationships. And now I gotta do it more. But like you're basically like speaking from an I standpoint and never saying, like trying not to say you anything, you did this, you made me feel, you fucked up. It's just like when I see people doing XYZ behavior, I get angry or I get sad or I get insecure, and that makes me yell or head off into the corner and blah, blah, blah. And so, what I need for me to feel safe, if you're not intending to hurt my feelings when I see you do XYZ, here's a request. Can you do XYZ for me to let me know that we're good? Because for whatever reason, you raising your voice makes me fucking get scared or whatever. But maybe you're raising your voice for other fucking reasons other than trying to scare me or something. And you're just a loud fucking person. But for some, you know what I mean? Like figuring out like methods like that to speak to one another and like the reconciliation process, I think has stuff like it would be really dope to look into apartheid and like the actual truth and reconciliation process that they went through and like what methodologies they used. But that stuff, that's skills that need to be taught.
Yeah, what they did in South Africa was more or less like a podium, I think, for people to say their piece. Like whether the abused or the abuser in question would go up and say what they did, and then charges would be dealt out if it's bad or not. But that was back then when it was more upfront and like legalized racism, I'd say more so. But well, what they didn't last long though, because they weren't things set up to go forward. I'd say it lasted till the 96 or something. But that was under Mandela's I guess oversight. But there was no appointment of that. There was nothing like no program set up for after whoever left the position, I guess, to carry it through. It wasn't set up to be something part of the institution of it. I don't know. But I need to look up more again on that one. But I'm sure that there wasn't something that, let's say if the boss leaves, the business wasn't there to stay, I guess. That's the gist of it. But it wasn't perfect either.
Yeah, my friend here said something about to like center it around or like have in mind like dehumanization. That like as soon as we're dehumanizing one another, communication breaks down. So like at any point, even like we have been the victim of heinous fucking acts of society or people or a person. If we're dehumanizing the perp, right? The person who did that behavior, that committed those violations, then we're also essentially committing the same thing that they did to us in a way. And it's just like, that doesn't mean to like have compassion or like, Yeah, it doesn't mean like to have compassion or to lower or lessen the impacts for us to hold the person who violated us with dignity, with humanity. We could still hold them accountable and get what we need while still respecting their humanity. without perpetuating like just to be like overt, like with racism. These white motherfuckers killed fucking all of us. Fuck them. They should fucking die or something, or they should all go to fucking prison. All the people that stormed the fucking Capitol or whatever on June 6th or what, on January 6th, they should all go to fucking prison. They should all have the feds up their ass. You know, like shit like that. It's just like, well, if we really wanted to be abolitionists and truly revolutionary, would we do those things back to them? How would we help them learn that they're fucking, that racist shit has no standing in life and that it's causing harm and it's causing death, while not trying to cause harm and death to them, because they're just going to figure out how to cause more harm and death to us because we're just going back and forth.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean like we have to have a kumbaya moment, but you know, this is like the really interesting thing about like re-education camps and stuff like that. It's just like we have to like really unlearn.
I'm sorry, was that not?
What'd you say, Captain?
I'm sorry, was that not supposed to be funny? Because like I think we need re-education camps.
Yeah, you know. No, like I read like Ursula Le Guin. I mean, if I could go to school, as a matter of fact, I still go to school or take workshops and stuff to unlearn and relearn things that I was never taught to do.
For some reason, I'm thinking they learned Lord of the Flies the wrong way. I don't know why.
Interesting.
That's a crazy book.
I just picture someone getting sent back to school because they learned something wrong. Like, I'm 50 now. I don't know. That's just what popped up in my head. I'm sorry.
Gulag for you.
That poor guy still thinks that Christopher Columbus discovered the Earth was a sphere. Wait, what? It wasn't him. I remember I remember in elementary school they said shit like that. Like, oh, Columbus saw that ships went below the horizon, and then he knew that the Earth was round. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I realized, wait, that's not true.
No, they were just sinking. Those ships were just sinking. He was watching people die at sea.
But that's also like that's really hard to see that happen anyway. You had to look super far out.
Yeah, just watching the curvature of the Earth or some shit. I can see it. That's funny.
If we want the world to become better, we need to find and kill every single flat earther.
Throw them off the edge.
Exactly.
Huh? Oh, man.
Unless we live on Asgard, then they'd be right, though.
Yeah, that's true. I love that quote that's like there were like millions of flat earthers around the globe.
That's great.
Oh, why is my computer rocking back and forth?
Yeah, there's too much hate and too much like conspiracy theory in the world. I mean, albeit there are some conspiracies that have been proven to be true and are questionable, but some of them are just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, how I see it, those conspiracies are a tool for someone to relate, I guess, to the world.
Yeah, that is true. And
so in a sense, it's not. Yeah, it's. I guess if you're not getting any other information, you have to come up with your own at this point. So there is a sense that there is a duty to educate each other on things. But if there aren't people trying to, bridge that gap and educating people on things, then you're gonna have to that's how the conspiracies, all that stuff starts. That's how, people do think Christopher Columbus, found America and all that shit. Like, is
that a conspiracy theory? No way.
There weren't other people on here before him.
I mean,
but if they're not chilling with people who tell them that, then
That's a massive ass conspiracy, right?
I mean-
Like they put that in our fucking books, and everybody believed that shit.
until
The people who actually discovered America were the people who decided to cross the land bridge between Russia and America. That's,
yeah. Yeah.
So if you're talking about Europeans, I mean, Christopher Columbus didn't. He opened it up as more of what. I mean, people who actually discovered it was Leif Erikson, but they didn't really talk about it. They just found it and left.
Yeah.
They're just Vikings.
It was like, oh yeah, okay,
They're like, oh, this place sucks, and then they just left.
that's true.
I know that guy from SpongeBob. I know.
Oh, I didn't know that's what Leif Erikson was like in SpongeBob.
Leif Erikson Day, dinga-dinga-durgan.
Wow.
Now I'm about to Google it right now.
Yeah,
He was I forget
I
what
remember that episode.
he was this Viking explorer, and he set sail from Greenland, and he found this place that he called Vinland, or Vineland, and that today is now Newfoundland, which is a province in Canada.
Cool.
Yeah,
Oh.
Which
this
is
was way before Christopher Columbus, but they didn't necessarily, they were Vikings. They didn't tell people.
What
They
happened?
killed people. So
Oh,
You okay, Captain?
I think she froze or something.
Captain Kirk? Captain Smiley?
she was so shocked by Leif Erikson. She's not
It's
frozen.
like, what? She had to research it, go on explore it.
But that's another thing that you guys kept mentioning, and like oh God.
There's Captain.
Why is that
I'll
your
be back.
ringtone?
I don't know. It came with the phone.
You can change it, Oriel. Ugh.
Yeah, I feel like their laptop might have died just like mine did.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, there we go. Rip.
Yeah, my laptop goes from 30% to 0. Like, no, it just like the pop up, it goes, oh, your battery's low. And just like dies. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, it's because you use it too much. The battery eventually just, yeah.
Yeah. It's time for me to get a new one. Yeah.
I was gonna say though, a good point of like talking is just like education, and that's a whole can of worms. Like I was thinking, like I've been thinking about it. I'm just like, we need to make it more like standardized, but we can't do that at the same time, because if we make it more standardized, we get shit like MCAS, and MCAS is fucking dumb. That was like I remember taking it like in 4th grade and being like, what the fuck is this? Can we just learn? Like, what is this standardized bullshit? And then you have like SAT and ACT, which don't mean anything. It's just like
there's like whole systems around it. Yeah. Like,
I get why it's there, but at the same time, it's like everyone hates it. It's a terrible system.
no, right. No, I'm saying that they built all these systems around it in order to reinforce that the need for it. And
Right.
It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
It's like instead of like trying to make everything standardized, it's standardizing around this one thing that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Doesn't show anything. Obviously. That's
Yeah,
all of
I
that. Or like IQ, like what even is IQ? It doesn't matter. It's stupid.
I know people are talking about like learning loss now. Hey, Captain Smiley.
Hi, my phone died. I'm sorry.
Hey.
Like all IQ equates to is just like how fast you answer something. That doesn't equal intelligence. It doesn't. Like, yeah, it could take someone longer to do something, but the person who goes longer actually thinks about it more than the other person who just do it immediately. It's different. It's not the same thing at all.
Right. It's just like measuring intelligence is like a exercise in futility. It's just like, what do you?
Like, what are you measuring? Speed? You measuring creativity? You measuring knowledge base? Like, what do you?
Yeah, and it's all usually rote memorization. It's not like we need like student-centered education based like what's culturally relevant pedagogies with like open schools where community members could come in and out and wrap around services everywhere. It's like dramatically fucking different than what we have. Yeah.
There also just seems to be like more of like schools like it more when you're able to retain information and do it quickly rather than take this information and do something creative with it. Like
it's commodified education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but you made me think of this person who said this thing about this thing where it's like if you judge a fish based on its ability to climb a tree, it'll be like it'll think it's stupid its whole life.
Exactly.
What's this tree? What's this fish doing?
You see a mudfish? That's how mudfishes came out.
Oh, mud skippers, those things.
They're like they tried extra hard.
Dude, I love those existential memes where it's a guy and it's like one of those like fish that come out of the water. Get back in there! You're not coming out.
No. I have to go pick someone up at the airport now, so I'm
Oreo, why do you have to keep doing this?
I always have to do something. I don't know.
You said the same thing last week.
Yeah, it was legit last week. One whole week ago was me. I'm just on airport duty on Sundays. I don't know.
You're just like an Uber driver. Never fucking paid.
See, no, I got paid today though.
Oh, that's good.
So it's a good thing. So my announcement for today was that I am releasing the March next Saturday as the first single for the Apartheid Plus project. Snappity Snap Snaps. Yeah. So April 17th will be coming. I'm not sure if it's on right on midnight. Technically 16th, whatever, but either way, that first song will be on Spotify and all platforms and whatnot. I'd like to thank everybody here because I have to cut this thing short, unfortunately, but it's a good conversation. I gotten closer to what reconciliation is or would look like if it's gets carried out, I guess.
Hopefully one day.
One day.
Or several long ass fucking days.
It'll be a century or so.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like, a few trillion years from now.
Yeah.
I'll experience it a little bit.
Now, thank you, Darren. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Jade. For anyone interested, next week I'm gonna go over what exactly I did with the song. So I'll be showing it off on Ableton and all this stuff and seeing what.
I'll be there for that.
Yeah, I need to figure out a way to make that work, but I think I know how to do it. I'm gonna mess with it over the week though, but you'll be able to see what exactly I did with it. The drums are kind of hectic, just because it was my first experience with live drums from Blondie from Shane.
I'll be able to help you, man.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything about drums, but.
It's not like he's a fucking percussionist of anything. He's like, give me something, I'll hit it and make a noise out of it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about drums.
That's what drumming is.
No.
It's just hitting shit.
Yeah.
As I've said before, it's not if you hit it, it's how you hit it.
Because it's gonna get hit regardless.
Exactly.
Nice.
So next week, next Sunday, will be the March releasing. I'm gonna do a little release party over here on same thing on StreamYard, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, and whatnot. And maybe you could roast me on my techniques or learn something that you don't know. So either way, at 7. It's 7. I think 7's a good number. I don't know. 7 p.m. is a good number.
It is a lucky number, man.
It's a lucky number.
All right. Awesome. I'll be on a flight. So
no worries. I just send a link to anyone that wants to join in or not.
7 is definitely in my top 10.
Yeah.
That took me a minute. It took me a second. I was just like,
So see you next week. Thank you,
All right,
guys.
peace, Oriel.
Peace out. Peace out.
Okay,
Peace,
hi,
y'all.
everybody. It's fun. I don't know how to leave. Oh, right there.